What's poppin' with the squad? How y'all doing? How y'all living? It's your boy Amari, and it's the first video of the new year, so I thought we started off with something relatively recent. We got the Weeknd and a Don FM album review. I'm actually really excited to talk about this one. I really enjoyed this album. It was a real different, and I feel like that might be hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. But I honestly think that this what we're hearing on Don FM is possibly the final evolution of the Weeknd's sound and him coming into his own sound. I really enjoyed how much it was done, and I got a lot to say about it. Let's talk about it. And so I will say that at first, this whole, 70s, 80s synth pop sound is kind of hard for me to grasp because, first off, I wasn't around back then. I wasn't into that type of music. And even currently, right now, I'm not really into that type of music. But I think The Weeknd does it in a way that makes it work. I think this is essentially After Hours Part 2, or how he may have wanted After Hours to come across, the sound that he was trying to get into when he delivered After Hours. So I really enjoyed that part of it. This whole line of old school synth pop that's coming from artists like The Weeknd and artists like Tory Lanez, I really am enjoying it. I think it's different, and I think they're both doing it in ways that make it work for them. I think The Weeknd more so makes it work for him in a way that seems less forced, but like I said, I do think they both managed to make this work. Even after the first listen, the first few songs, they had me hooked. I was enjoying the vocals and the way he was using his vocals. I was enjoying the production and everything surrounding the production. I was enjoying the ambiance and the feeling of the project, and it really is just something that quite literally sucked me in and did not let me go. Although, with that being said, what I didn't really enjoy was just how much of a lot of these songs were just the production. A lot of these songs, it seemed like the spotlight was more on the production and all the effects and what was going into it than necessarily lyrics or the vocals that Abel was able to give to us. We find ourselves here in 2022 with a lot of different tastes in music, and I feel like going back to this past sound that's just, not only in the past, but like so far in the past, we're talking 40 years in the past. A lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people aren't going to be used to that. A lot of people may not want to hear that. And quite frankly, that's going to turn a lot of people off of this album. But then there are other people who, for the sake of loving music or for the sake of hearing something new, for the sake of being a fan of The Weeknd, will enjoy what he gives to us. And I think I fall into the second category, where as a music lover, I'm kind of just enjoying all of these different products that are being given to us. I love to hear something new like this. I love to, not really new, but you guys know what I mean. But I really do enjoy hearing artists step out, develop their own sound, even if it means going into the past to find that sound. I really, really think that The Weeknd did himself justice, and I think this is going to be a turning point, a jumping off point for The Weeknd, where we start to see more of this sound in depth. We start to see more of his style of this sound in his music videos, and it's just going to be one of those where I wholeheartedly feel The Weeknd definitely starts to lean on this more than, more than hip hop, or more than and just contemporary pop or anything like that. So I'm excited to see what he does with this sound. Another thing I enjoyed was how, at least to me, it seemed like some of his vocal techniques, his runs, just his high notes, some of the things he was doing with his voice were very reminiscent of Michael Jackson's voice and the things he could do with his. And for me, it became very apparent where The Weeknd got a lot of his inspiration from. And I think that just made me enjoy this even more. Here We Go Again with Tyler the Creator is an easy favorite. I Heard You Were Married with Lil Wayne is also another easy favorite of mine personally. Like, I personally enjoy the second half of this album a lot, and I feel like it starts to pick itself up and go faster, and also gets me more entwined and gets me more into the album itself in this second half of the album. Overall, there are a few songs that I would maybe skip in favor of other songs, but on a standalone level, there are no songs on this album that I just flat out didn't like. There are no songs that I would find myself deleting from a playlist if I added this to a playlist, or just straight up avoiding if I were to let this album run through. And I think that's really important to take note of, because such for lack of a better word, a jarring experience that the Weeknd gave us with this album, I feel like it might be hard to retain those listeners. I feel like it might be harder for people to, like I said earlier, wrap their heads around what this project is and what it could be. And I personally just need to make that note that this isn't just something that's surface level. It's something that you kind of do have to sit on. It is one of those projects that's not just a one and done listen. I had to go back and re-listen to this album because there was a lot, maybe production wise or vocal wise or lyric wise, that I may have missed the first time around. And it was those things that I may have missed that got me even more into this project. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this project. I think it was done well. I think the production was crazy on it. I think The Weeknd did his thing with the vocals and the lyrics. This is not a bad project at all. That being said, it is in no way, shape, or form my favorite Weeknd project. That's just me personally. I definitely found myself enjoying Trilogy more. I definitely found myself enjoying his earlier music more. But that's just me, and I don't think that should or does take away from what this project is. Overall, if we're going off of my personal enjoyment and how well crafted I think this album is, I'd give this project a solid 8. I don't think it necessarily blew me out of the water. I don't think it was mid, but I also don't think, in my personal opinion, that it was album of the year. I thought it was a very well done album, and it makes me excited for what The Weeknd has next. And that's where I'll leave that one. I would love to know how you guys feel. What is your favorite tracks, if you have any? What are your least favorite tracks? What did you like about the album? What did you not like about the album? I will be reading those comments, so please be sure to drop down and leave those comments for me. And I will see y'all in the next video. I'm gone.